Welcome back to the Pride Pups. Today's flag is the aberosexual flag, and our Pride Pup is the Cane Corso. Out of all the Mastiffs, these dogs are built less bulky and smaller in stature, in particularly versus the Neapolitan Mastiff they're closely related to. However, by no means am I saying that these are a small dog. For some of these individuals, their head is even larger than the average human's. These Mastiffs were once one of the most popular breeds in the Italian peninsula, but they were almost wiped off the map. In the collapse of sharecropping in the 1960s, these dogs almost disappeared. But now we're seeing a rise in their population, with almost 3,000 registrations between 2011 and 2019. Welcome back to the Pride Pups. Today's pup is the Bull Terrier, and today's flag has a few names. I know it best by Sognary Sexual, but it is also called Dream Sexual. And I wanted to take a moment to say that this is not related to the YouTuber in any way, shape, or form. This is a sexual identity on the asexual spectrum, where someone only feels sexual attraction during dreams, but rarely to never while awake. And it has the unfortunate coincidence of sharing a name. Now for the Bull Terrier. These dogs originated from the quote-unquote bull and terriers developed for vermin control in Britain. This is actually the same starting point for the pit bull. The Bull Terrier first gained popularity from being an all-white breed before they got their iconic egg-shaped face. That came from breeding terriers with the Borzoi and the Rough Collie to reduce the stop of the skull, the angle change between the temple and the nasal bone. The first Bull Terrier to have no stop at all, now recognized as the first modern Bull Terrier, was a male named Lord Gladiator. Welcome back to the Pride Pups. Today's flag is the Ambiamorous flag, and our Pride Pup is the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. And they're not to be confused with the King Charles Spaniel. The two breeds actually only diverged as late as the 1920s, but they are officially different breeds. There's an urban legend that claims that these dogs were so important to the eponymous King Charles II that these dogs had permission to enter every establishment in the UK. However, the UK Parliament denies this. In the Victorian era, the King Charles Spaniel was crossbred with a pug to make a breed with a smaller sized nose and a smaller stature. This has led to the King Charles Spaniel being more brachycephalic, with a scrunched nose and a domed head. The Cavalier King Charles Spaniel came about after an organization sought to restore the breed to how it was during King Charles II of England's reign, whose supporters in the English Civil War were called the Cavaliers. This has led to the breed having a longer and more robust snout and a slightly larger body size, along with better nasal health. Welcome back to the Pride Pups. Today's flag is the Aberogender flag, and our Pride Pup is the Chinese Crested Dog. And it's finally time for my favorite toy breed. They're known for being one of a few hairless dogs, and there's 3 varieties of the breed: the hairless, the hairy hairless, and the powder puff. The powder puff has an all-over thick coat of white soft hair with a double coat, and the hairy hairless, like I've drawn here, has select areas that grow a single coat of hair: the crest of the head, socks, and plume tail. Hairlessness is an incomplete dominant gene within the breed, and any homozygous individuals with the gene are typically reabsorbed before birth. Because of this, powder puffs and hairless Chinese crested dogs can be born from the same litter. And despite being called the Chinese Crested Dog, they didn't originate in China. They potentially were brought to China from Africa early in history, but this breed has a much wider footprint on the world, with some being found in Central and South America in the 1500s by explorers. Welcome back to the Pride Pups. Today's flag is the Ambigender flag, and our Pride Pup is the Chihuahua. Over 10,000 years ago, dogs crossed over into North America and were isolated from Eurasian dogs until colonization in the 1500s. Dogs from this pre-colonization time have a specific DNA marker that is slowly disappearing, but the Xoloides quaintly and the Chihuahua were both tested for this marker. The results of these tests showed that the Xoloides quaintly had about 3% of this marker still remaining in their DNA, and the Chihuahua had 4%, making them slightly closer related to these ancient early North American dogs. Besides long and short-coated varieties, there are 2 distinct head shapes of Chihuahua. The more popular variety in modern media is the apple-headed variety, with a rounder head and bigger eyes. But there's also the deer-headed variety with a longer and more narrow skull. Both are around the same size, and they're equally accepted in kennel clubs. Welcome back to the Pride Pups. Today's flag is the Androgyny flag, and our Pride Pup is the Basset Hound. And I have a question for anybody who's familiar with the Basset Hound. Did anybody else ever call them jaw dogs? My Grammy's favorite animal was the Basset Hound. She always called them jaw dogs, but I never ran into the name anywhere in my research. So is that just a rural Appalachian thing? Anyways, Basset is French for rather low, which makes sense and was first mentioned in 1585. Some people believe that the Basset Hound's short legs were caused by a mutation in litters of Norman staghounds. These smaller hounds are vital for hunters on foot, easier to keep pace with, and therefore much more common for those in middle and lower classes. Their ability to ground scent is second only to the bloodhound, which, given how both of them look, you can see the family resemblance.